The title, the Return of the Cool project, you know, that came about right after the, you know, previous project, 88. And for me, man, I'm just like a hip hop kid. I'm just so much a hip hop kid. I love lyrics. I love, you know, the craft and putting great music together, lyrically and in the production. I kind of co-produce everything that I rap on. So for me, I use the term the cool to describe what hip hop should be present day, based on all the people that I grew up listening to, whether it was Nas, Jay-Z, Tupac, Biggie. But it didn't stop at hip hop either. It could be Curtis Mayfield or Earth, Wind and Fire or Luther Vandross. So just taking these different things and different influences that inspired me to make, you know, music. And, you know, these were some of the first people that I listened to. So I took what I loved and just did what I can do along with my own personal experiences. So that's what the Return of the Cool is about. Just showing people you're not afraid to dance either, you know, and have fun and, you know, just party and be yourself. That's what the Return of the Cool is about. Shout out to Natural who did the artwork for the Return of the Cool. So it's basically just me and my face in this wine glass. So this wine glass is symbolic to longevity. Normally when you sit down and have a glass of wine and you got this small wine glass, it's usually people sitting in the office having to have a conversation with the wine glass. So my face in the wine glass with all these things that I love, whether it's women or cars or watches and chains, it's pretty much like a dialogue piece. It's that chalice is like a symbolic to, you know, you're gonna be here for a while, longevity. So me inside of the glass represents me being here for a while with longevity and having so much conversation with you throughout my career. So it's setting up everything I do, project-wise, is like a setup for the next body of work. So yeah, shout out Natural for that. It came out classic, better than I could have ever imagined. No significance to it. It was just, you know, we was wrapping up and we just felt like we was overdue for another project and it was time to put it out. So, but the thing was, like, I just felt like we was just, well, not me per se, because I just do the music and do the artistry, but you know, my team, Jason Jeter, Shaka Zulu, you know, for them it was like, man, this music is too good to give away for free. And you know, this was just supposed to be a mixtape, but the music sounds so good, it was like, yo, we gotta make people pay for this and train your audience to like value when you release a project. So yeah, that's what it was about. It was definitely more. It was a lot of records that we put together that didn't make the project. But you know, I feel like God has his way of just doing things for whatever to be what it is, you know. So no significance to that amount, but you know, normally sometimes albums are like 9 records. So it's kind of like that too. I felt like in a weird way, like listening to a vinyl, which we're getting printed up, by the way, is like when you used to see the old vinyl, we'll be like, man, it's not that many songs, but that's to make you go back and rewind and listen again and dig deep into the project. So yeah, but no significance, but it was very beneficial. Me and my manager, Jason Jeter, really him. He just sat down and I had a track list that I thought was dope. But I sat down with him at his crib and he just played it. And you know, he didn't even tell me. I was like, yo, who put this together? I love how this flows, but that was really all him. Yeah. We were just going through things, but like going through different sequences. But once I heard his, I was like, yo, this is how I want it to sound. Like, let's not change it. Let's not rethink it, because to me, it felt like getting dressed and going out and actually getting to the club, then it slows back down from when you leaving the club. You know, so it's like the beginning, then the climax, then the end of the record, which just felt like going out and partying and having fun and being cool. Like I said, this was like supposed to be a mixtape, but you know, it just felt good, man. It just felt like a great time. It just felt like cool. It felt like something that was totally left field in what's going on in today's climate of music, and it just felt special. Yeah. Let's go with Gotta Be More, featuring B.i.g, the Chicago Kid. That's like one of my favorite records. That record just talks about the state of the world and how people need to excite each other and galvanize with each other, you know, to kind of bring about a change within the people, you know, you know, in our communities. And, you know, it's just so bad and just so many different evil things are just going on in the world. So it's just me touching on them and what I feel like I need to do to change and what I feel like others should do to help others to change. You know what I'm saying? And kind of inspiring people and creating a domino effect. And, you know, BJ was so grateful and I was so fortunate for him to get on the record that, you know, it just came out normal and he wanted to do it. He was excited about it. So that too makes the record more special when people are excited about doing records with people instead of just doing them for money. And, you know, I have like the utmost respect for him for that. So it just came out like I said, with the artwork, better than I expected. So, you know, I was very excited about that. But the beauty in making these types of records are the times. It's kind of weird too, because if you look at like the Reagan era, you got some of like the best hip hop, whether it was Chuck D, KRS-One, Rakim, you know, at that time you got some of the best hip hop music, and I feel like this is the new Reagan era in a sense, as far as like the political people that are in place and have all the power. So, you know, that was my reason for making that kind of record, and it's like the beauty of, I felt like God had his timing with me. It's like, all right, when the world is bad, I'm gonna just put you in here and see what you do, and since you have so much to say, you know, so for me that's what it was, you know, being in these times and having so much to say, and we gotta be more for each other, we gotta be more for the world, we gotta be more for these kids that are actually listening to hip hop, and we have, you know, more respect. It's crazy, it's unfortunate, but they look up to us more than they do their parents. They listen to us every day more than they do their parents, and you know, they're very impressionable. So we as artists have a responsibility to say certain things that they gonna listen to and steer them in a different direction. So that's what Gotta Be More talks about. All of You, which is like a love record, you know, it was like, you know, for me, I felt like this body of work was showing people that I can make records, whether it was like the quote-unquote club hit. It's like a sarcastic jab at the critics who said 88 was just, oh man, it's hip hop. He might be a fluke. He can't do it again. He's this, he's that. So it was just showing people that I can make music universally. And with that, it was just talking to the ladies and talking to the women, which is like my favorite thing to do with music, talking to the women, because that's like one of my favorite things, and I just love women so much. Is, you know, so that aspect of it, I was raised by women too, so that makes it easier to make these kind of records, man, and just have the utmost respect, because that art is lost. You know, we don't put women on a pedestal. We rather just, you know, say crazy, absurd things about them. So for me, man, that's just, I love that. I love creating the female record. So All of You, that's what that record was about. And the sing-along was one of the singles that we shot, and that record's just more about, just talks about, you know, how hip-hop is more substance abuse than having substance in your music, the rise and the incline and the decline of, you know, the trap star. And that was in the first verse. And the second verse just talks about how we all should look at the careers of the other people that came before us, the legendary people that came before us, and take notes, man, because those guys have been here 20, 30 years. And that means something, you know. So when you hear for so long, you just, that's a sign of people speaking from their heart when they last and have longevity. I said it earlier, it was just supposed to be a mixtape, you know, and it ended up being, you know, my first release on a major label, man. And so that was the only thing. That was the only thing. It was my thought process of, you know, just doing different things and being creative. And it was a lot of records, like I said, that didn't make the project, you know, and I'm so grateful for and thankful that people are saying, you know, this is one of the greatest projects that they probably have heard in such a long time. And me in my mind, I'm like, man, I just know how much better it could be. So it's like, man, all right, you like this? So now when I go back to the drawing board, I know what next level to take it to. So yeah.